For years, the Middle East has operated as a locked grid. It's a complex war game where traditional military threats bounce off without resolving core disputes. We see this systemic failure clearly in the active proxy battles. Look at the ongoing urban conflict in Lebanon, where dense city blocks are reduced to smoke and rubble without yielding a clear, permanent victor. A similar decay is playing out across Yemen, leaving armed factions pointlessly patrolling shattered mud brick ruins rather than surrendering their territory. The physical choke point strangling the global economy sits in the Strait of Hormuz, which remains constantly under threat from subsurface naval contact mines designed to destroy commercial shipping. And behind all of this sits the ultimate frozen variable, Iran's nuclear power infrastructure and the unresolved standoff over its supply of highly enriched uranium. Decades of kinetic military action have failed to break this stalemate. Because dropping bombs cannot force lasting peace, the United States is entirely changing the strategic input. Instead of launching missiles, they are launching a corporate acquisition. The mechanism for this shift is a classified Memorandum of Understanding. Brokered quietly through wealthy back channels in Qatar and Pakistan, the framework is now leaking out through reports from the New York Times. Championed by political strategists like J.D. Vance, this document abandons the standard framework of a diplomatic peace treaty. In its place is an overwhelming financial injection. We are looking at a $300 billion capital transfer, designed to simply buy out the conflict. This financial mechanism treats a sovereign international conflict like a hostile corporate takeover. The mechanics start with a strict 60-day firewall, enforcing a complete ceasefire across the West Asian theater. This window forces negotiators to decide the fate of Iran's highly enriched uranium. But to keep that window open, Iran has 30 days to clear all naval mines from the Strait of Hormuz. But the American response is strictly conditional. The moment independent inspectors verify the channel is clear of explosives, the United States will dismantle its naval blockade. The structural output is immediate. Unrestricted global oil flow is restored, allowing massive commercial tankers to dock safely at industrial terminals once again. This perfectly choreographed 30-day physical trade dictates everything. If the maritime route's clear, the larger 60-day diplomatic wargame can proceed. If they fail, the entire deal collapses. Which raises the question, why would Iran's hardline Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps voluntarily surrender their primary strategic leverage? The initial bait is straightforward cash. The agreement promises the immediate unfreezing and release of $24 billion in held Iranian assets. The $300 billion reconstruction program functions as an entry point for American energy giants to acquire a stake in Iran's sovereign infrastructure. To access that money, Iran must allow major American energy conglomerates to physically infiltrate their extraction networks through forced joint ventures. By plugging American corporate machinery directly into Iranian oil fields, the Iranian economy becomes permanently tethered to Western financial interests. The consequence extends far beyond Iran's borders. Once American executives gain jurisdiction inside those fields, the pricing solidarity of the OPEC cartel is severely diluted. This $300 billion fund allows Washington to bypass military resistance, fracture OPEC, and establish dominance over global crude pricing. But this entire simulation assumes rational actors, and the system has several severe bottlenecks that could cause the whole diplomatic architecture to crash. The primary external threat is Benjamin Netanyahu's domestic defense matrix, and whether he is willing to synchronize Israel with the U.S. ceasefire. If Israel refuses to halt its aggressive operations in active proxy zones like Lebanon and Yemen, the fragile 60-day firewall instantly fails. Then there is the internal threat. At any moment, Iran's supreme leader, or IRGC hardliners, could realize they are being bought out, prompting them to execute a sudden leverage play to block the corporate infiltration entirely. A single uncalculated action from either faction shatters the carefully engineered math of this $300 billion wargame. This classified maneuver, orchestrated during Donald Trump's administration, replaces traditional military containment with a strategy of direct financial acquisition. The strategy sidesteps the failure of ballistic missiles, focusing on a capital injection to achieve what military force could not. Geopolitical history may record this as the moment the US dollar proved more effective at dismantling a hostile empire than any ballistic array.